Yeah, could you say that again now that we're recording? Like,
10 out of 10 quality podcast content. Totally not biased because I'm the guest this week. What up?
what up? Welcome to the Unpaid Nobody's podcast. 10 out of 10.
We need all the good promotions we can
Yeah.
get.
Hashtag confirmed.
I mean, we're not called the Paid Nobodies for a reason.
There
But
you go.
please
Thriving off of positive feedback.
Yeah. Oh, well. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Purvis, introduce our
Yes,
guest.
sir. Oh, will do, and gladly. This is my good friend Jasper. We met at JP Morgan.
Oh, yeah, Purvis works for a giant evil bank.
Yeah, sorry. What can I say?
To be fair, it's
I,
one of the less evil banks, but you're
Yeah.
right.
it's true. But yeah, it's still a bank. But anyway, Jasper, you have amazing presence, so I'm gonna let you speak for yourself. Who are you?
Appreciate it. Yeah. To everyone out there listening, hello. My name is Jasper. I'm big into music of all varieties. I also do a couple other things kind of adjacent to, I guess, hip hop and rap culture. I'm real big into sneakers and I collect that and art as well. And I have a bit of a background in kind of the Chicago scene when it comes to creative work, some music, some art and design. So, yeah, happy to be here.
Sick.
Thank you.
Sick.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Are you from here?
Yeah, I grew up Northwest Side, Portage Park area.
Oh, sick. Yeah, I'm from Melrose Park, so it's like,
Gotcha. Yeah,
yeah,
small world.
All the
small,
same neighborhoods.
small ass world. All right, we got a lot to cover. So
There is a lot going on this week.
yeah, there's a lot.
Just to open up, we are sorry we missed a week. We have
Oh
been
yeah,
absent.
I was sick last week. I caught something at Riot Fest.
So that's
Yeah, I got the Riot flu, so I was not going to be recording a podcast.
well, I guess we're going to discuss all of that. So we'll make it worth it. We'll show how it was kind of worth it.
Yeah, definitely worth it.
But yeah, this week we're gonna be talking about Riot Fest. We're gonna be talking about the Kid Cudi concert I went to. Jasper was also in attendance, so that's why we have him here.
Yes,
And
sir.
Little
there's a
concert review
lot of
episode.
news. Yeah, it's a light episode, real
Yeah.
light. But it's a lot of news, so we might as well get
Yeah.
into it now. Starting off with the albums, this might be like, at least from what I can remember, this honestly is like the biggest release weekend
This
for
is
music.
a
I feel like
dense release week.
like there is a lot going on. But starting off all the way at the top, we have Sir Kid Cudi. We just went to the concert. He's going out with Intergalactic well as the release for his TV show.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about the TV show in the next few weeks.
Oh no,
Yeah,
no
I'm
doubt.
hyped for that TV show.
Jasper, how do you feel about this?
I'm looking forward to it. It definitely is, I think, something unique, something a little different. Kind of gives me Spider-Verse vibes, but also in kind of a more like down to earth way, as far as like the way the animation style looks and the way, the preview is kind of laid out what the show is about and,
Yeah.
kind of relationships, family, interpersonal issues and things like that. So I'm interested in seeing what it's about, where it goes. I saw there was a bunch of blowback over the fact that the album cover for the new album of the same name is potentially, looks exactly like the art from the show instead of being its own thing.
They have
But
the same name. They're clearly a connected art piece.
They are.
yeah, but Cuddy did go on Twitter to say that it's gonna be a standalone album, not just a soundtrack for it. So it's interesting to me that they're really just directly ripping when it's supposed to be independent in his words. But we'll
Hmm.
see.
I mean, I
I
don't
mean, now
know.
that you bring that up, I didn't even think about that previously, but like, I don't know. Personally, I didn't get the kind of vibe that it was gonna be a soundtrack to the
Hmm.
TV show. But now that you actually like say it out loud, and I'm thinking about like the cover is literally like the show and everything, it's a little concerning.
I
But
mean,
I hope it's gonna be its own little thing.
okay, so this is maybe the movie buff in me coming out. So, but when I heard him say like, "Oh, it's not gonna be a soundtrack," what I took that to mean is that it's going to be original music.
Mm.
Because like when I think of a soundtrack, I think of like how like Martin Scorsese or like Quentin Tarantino use like pop songs that are like reclaimed and used. So
Mhm.
that's how I took that to mean.
Okay.
But
I've
we'll
clearly
see.
missed
Like,
all this.
I think it's going to be interesting just because, like, I don't know. I think music just stands on its own from visuals so much that I don't know. Did you guys like the teaser tracks for this?
Didn't he come out with something with Ty Dolla $ign last week?
Yeah, that single. And he
Okay.
actually announced it at the show too when he was leaving the stage. He mentioned
Yeah.
that there was a new single on the way
That's
out.
what
I
he
remember
was
that.
talking about.
Yeah.
I completely forgot.
Yeah, it's not bad. I think it's solid. It's not my favorite single he's put out recently, but I think it's definitely, hearing Ty Dolla make something that I think is pretty, substantial with
Yeah.
Cudi's nice.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I like the single a lot, actually. I thought the first single was a little annoying.
Talk About Me.
No, not Talk About Me. Talk About Me's incredible.
I love that song.
Yeah, I've been on a big Denzel Curry kick, so like,
Yeah.
Love that one.
yeah, great song. I Do What I Want.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
need
that
to
one
re-listen
where he
to
just
that.
like stay off the weed for like unreasonably long. It's like it's such a playlist killer.
That is true. It's funny, the conversation we had the other day is like, low key, is this going to be one of his first actual mid projects?
Yeah, because like
I
he
don't think it's
has,
going to be bad.
yeah, he has like great projects and he has like fucking awful projects.
Right. There's no really in between. This might be one of the
Yeah.
ones that's like, this isn't terrible, but it's
Yeah.
not great.
I just wasn't blown away by the feature list.
Yes, that as well. That's one thing that stuck out.
You know,
I do like the Don Toliver, but the rest is, I mean, it's whatever.
As true as that is, I think if there's any artist today who really doesn't need to rely on features to make songs that are memorable, it is Cudi. So
that
I'm
makes-
curious.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah, I'm
Yep.
curious to see what he does because I mean, even albums of his that weren't the best received at the time initially, and the one that comes to mind is Passion, Pain, and Demon Slaying. Like that
Mhm.
album was not right away a fan favorite, but so many songs on there are just him doing his thing, and it's a little long winded, but a lot of those are. You ask people now, and it's like, oh man, that's a classic. Like, and some of them might have some minor features and stuff, but yeah, people really seem to resonate with that over time. Stuff like Kitchen and, Swim in the Light, stuff like that just, kind of has aged well, I think.
I haven't hit that mark personally,
Yeah, me
but
neither.
I wouldn't be surprised if like there is a good portion of the fan base that actually does like the album. He does give us variety, so
my buddy who shout out to Patrick Parker, he was at the show. He loves that album. Like he'll freely admit like Speeding Bullet to Heaven isn't good, but like he stands by Passion, Pain, and Demon Slaying. And I saw the tour for that album.
I was at that too.
Yeah, where Kanye came out.
Yep, November
Yeah.
4th,
That was-
Saturday, 2017.
That was the day I met Purvis. Like
yep,
yeah.
weird origin story moment.
It all
Whoa.
comes together.
A kind of point of genesis for everybody in here
Yeah,
right now.
Literally, it's like what is
Jesus
going
Christ.
on?
This is like that scene in Avengers where like Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man all look at each other. Like
There you go.
Nice.
yeah, I know.
So yeah,
But yeah, I saw him on that tour, and I remember being like, because the album had already been out for like a year and a half at that point.
Yeah, because he went to rehab.
Yeah, and I remember like being like, "Yo, was I wrong about this album?" Because like his performance was so good. I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, did I sleep on this? I went back, I re-listened to it. No,
So yeah, something about
I kind of chalk it up to his skills as a performer. But go ahead.
yeah, that performance was incredible. That's
Yeah.
still to this day the best show I've ever been to.
That was
Um,
that was one of the craziest moments of my life. I tell people like I was 40 feet outside of Wrigley Field when the Cubs won the World Series,
yeah,
and to this
the
day,
energy was not. Yeah,
to this day, like when Kanye West come out, because I was right by the fucking stage.
yeah,
It was the loudest thing that I've ever been a part of.
yeah. I mean, the thing about Passion Pain is that I feel like it does what a lot of Cudi projects do, and I do include Speed and Bullet in this, where it's got some, if not a good number of like really very solid tracks, good tracks that people do connect with and like and resonate with, and those become kind of his like classics over time. But there's a lot of content in there, and not all of it kind of goes in the same direction in the terms of the flow of the album or
Yeah.
in terms of what he's trying to communicate. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. Passion Pain is 19 songs and an hour and 26-minute runtime.
That's obscene. That should be illegal.
So
that's a bit much.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think if this and Speed and Bullet were, 40 minutes shorter, 12 songs maybe, they would be much more concise and much more well-received albums overall.
I agree with
Take the best
Passion
piece of
Pain.
it.
I agree with Passion Pain. I have like I talk to Purvis about how like there are some albums that I hate so much I remember where I was when I listened to them. Speeding Bullets on that list. Like I just thought I thought it was a very tasteless and pretentious approach at grunge music. And that's just like grunge and punk and all that shit that bleeds real close to my heart. So like maybe I'm just a bit sensitive to it.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but at the same time, one thing that I can't help but think of when I listen to certain tracks off of Speed and Bullet is Wizard or WZRD,
Now,
which is one of my favorite projects. It feels to me like Speed and Bullet is in a way kind of like a spiritual successor to that, but he's gone too far with it. Maybe it's, his obsession with escaping the limelight or substances, whatever it is. There's something about it where it's nowhere near as tight, nowhere near as connected to what is, I don't know, like traditional as far as the way that kind of music and that kind of genre presents itself. And also just really all over the place with the skits. It's just disorganized.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now Wizard is one that I reevaluated pretty hardcore. Because like when it came out, I liked it, but I kind of like, I was like, oh, this is cool, and I moved on. I re-listened to it a lot last year, and fuck, that album's incredible.
I love Wizard so much.
Wizard
it's
so
just
much.
Something completely different that just came out of nowhere and I think changed the game in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it was definitely like on that synthwave revival, like real early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it has just, you look at the track list and there's so much crazy stuff on there. Like he's got Teleport to Me, Jamie, which is featuring I don't remember who that is who's featured on that, but it's like already a famous kind of standalone synthwave track.
Yeah.
He's got his own cover of Where Did You Sleep Last Night, which has been covered by everybody from like Nirvana to new artists.
I love
now.
that. I stand by. I recommended it a few weeks back.
I was gonna say, I know you recommended that before.
Yeah,
I recognize the name like immediately.
I stand by. I think that's the best cover of that song. Like I know a lot of people love the Nirvana cover, and it's very good. But I think the Kid Cudi one is the best one, or the Wizard.
Oh, so the song that's featured is called it's by Desire, the artist Desire, and it's called Under Your Spell.
Yeah,
and that song was actually made famous by appearing in the soundtrack for the movie Drive, the Ryan Gosling film.
Yeah, I love that. The artist who made like the song from the lead single, or not the lead single, like the opening credits sequence, it's called Night Call by Kavinsky.
Yep, I'm familiar.
Yeah, Kavinsky put out an album this year, and like it is far and away my most listened to album.
Brandon, it's up next. I was meaning to text you that. Like I've been like whipping through my album queue. I just got to Kavinsky.
Oh yeah,
I'm very excited to start it.
It's very like vibey. It's like a perfect driving at night album. That's the best way I'll describe it.
Fun little piece of trivia here, and I want to know if either of you know this. Can either of you tell me which hip hop project Night Call is featured on heavily?
It was sampled pretty heavily on Royalty, the Childish Gambino album.
You got it. Yeah, his like last kind of mixtape before the EP. Yeah, it was him and Bun B on R.I.P.
Yeah, it was like 3 episodes ago. I recommended a song from that.
This is all really good timing.
Yeah.
There you go. Great minds think alike.
Absolutely.
All right.
Speaking of great minds, great criminal minds, guys, it's Freddie Gibbs season.
Oh, thank you. Brandon, do you still have the listing you sent me something he released and gave us, the track list, the feature list, and also the producer list. I'm like kind of scared, bro.
Dude, this is
like an amazing lineup.
Dude, I love this. I am yum yum yum. Let me eat this all up. Like, I've been listening to a ton of Freddie Gibbs this week to just like get hyped for this. The singles that released so far, fire. And also Freddie Gibbs, I think he's just a good dude. He should be president.
All right, let's not push it.
Like, could you imagine, like, all right, we're talking to Putin. Send Freddie. Like,
that's not how the government works, Brandon.
I'd rather have Kodak Black, but go off.
no,
That's even worse.
no, disagree.
Or is it better?
No, like, well, I hate the government, want to destroy it. So, like,
We're gonna throw everything to the ashes apparently, and just say forget it.
oh my god! But yeah, no,
super excited.
Unreasonably excited. Whipping out the hot plate, breaking out the ski mask. Don't want my face to itch. This is gonna be great.
And this is gonna be the one. Okay, I honestly think, believe it or not, I might listen to Freddie Gibbs before Kid Cudi. That's just kind of the mood I'm in.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But also adding on to your album of the year, Denzel Curry.
Denzel Curry's the deluxe. First off, I've been following him. He's been very erratic on Twitter this week.
Really?
Just like about the deluxe, like if it's coming out, and he keeps saying it's coming soon. I wouldn't be surprised if this doesn't happen this week.
Oh,
I know it's supposed to, but
that would be disappointing.
But apparently, it's it's a completely like they've redone all the beats. It's supposed to be like live. I'm very excited.
Now, once you said live, that kind of that pulls in an extra effect. I like that.
He was like, it's really gonna sound extra jazzy.
Jazzy? Yeah. Actually, that's something I was gonna bring up because I did revisit it recently because we've been having this Denzel Curry JID discussion.
That's what I've been doing. I've been comparing, contrasting Denzel Curry and JID.
I did go back and like the fact that you're saying it's gonna be more jazzy actually makes sense to me.
Yeah,
because that's one thing that stuck out. Yeah,
like
it's very jazzy.
There are a few songs where like it stops being jazzy, but like for the most part, it really is.
It was a lot slower than I remember.
Yeah,
because I listened to it a while ago, but I was like, this is actually like slower paced album.
I went back. I listened to Taboo and Imperial, and I'm like, man, this guy used to scream a lot. Like,
it's been a big transition.
Yeah,
a big transition. Speaking
Jasper,
of that,
what do you think of this album?
So I have not listened yet. I'm really, really behind.
Yeah.
I'm just working my way through a big queue right now.
Yeah. Listen,
we get it.
There are definitely albums I haven't listened to Ari Lennox yet.
Yep, I haven't listened to Beyonce's yet.
No, I'm really behind. Like I spent the last probably 3 months learning the Frank Ocean albums, like all of them.
That is fair. That's understandable.
Including like Nostalgia Ultra. We went back. We went through the archives.
I love Nostalgia Ultra.
We love that for you.
Yeah. Do Denzel Curry. It's a ride.
It will be worth cutting some of the albums out.
Yeah.
This is one of the contenders, I would say.
Yeah.
Did you listen to JID yet?
Did I listen to JID, the new one?
Yeah.
I've just heard him on the single, but I need to get on that too.
Okay. Both of those, move it up.
Yeah, no, those
for
are
sure.
Those are strong album of the year contenders, and I would say the Freddie Gibbs. Already, I'm like, whenever Freddie drops. Look, I did not just love Alfredo because I am a spineless Italian. Like, no, it's a classic album.
It's funny that you say that because I read something recently, and I know awards only mean so much. But in terms of him being rated by critics and things like that, he has one of the most consistent discographies. All of them are around at least like 75 to 85.
He gets a lot of love from fans and critics.
Mm.
Yeah.
So he don't miss.
Yeah, he don't miss. All right, Tory Lanez, Sorry for What? Who cares?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't really care. But he is a major name. He is one of the classic Toxic Kings. I believe he fits within the podcast.
I bet Isaac is like, man, I care. And if you are Isaac,
I don't know. I don't know if Isaac's gonna care, but I know he's gonna listen to it.
Yeah. Well, let us know how it is.
I will eventually get to this. I'm not gonna just skip it.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be eating this weekend. If all three of these come out, oh boy.
No, it's gonna be tough for you to survive there.
There's gonna be a lot of tunes, a lot of Halo.
And that's all we need. Someone I care even less about. YG is dropping an album.
We saw this person live in concert.
Didn't we see like a YG song at Lala?
Yeah, he was
Didn't we see, like,
performing
a
while
song
we
or
were
two?
waiting for Big Sean to start.
It was probably the most irritating place I've ever been.
Yeah.
The songs, I realized that the songs that only exist for like white teenagers in the suburbs to have an excuse to say the N word.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not good songs.
Yeah. No, there's a whole lot of artists who fit on that.
That is true, and unfortunately, he has succumbed to that section of the industry. I guess whatever.
So,
But
yeah.
moving on to
Yeah.
the singles.
I mean, undeniably, though, large artists definitely going to be big drops.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But on to the singles. We have like a lot of important singles. That's how I kind of looked at them. Because all of them are teasers to upcoming albums.
Yeah.
Mavi dropped a single called Doves. That's going to be on his album Laughing So Hard It Hurts. That
I
is
know who
dropping
that is.
on October 14th. Didn't I introduce you?
No, I have no idea who this is. What's going on?
Oh, this is the person that I told you is like literally, he's so much closer to Earl Sweatshirt, and it's like
Okay,
really
yeah.
good. I guess I should ask Jasper, have you heard of him?
I'm not familiar now.
Okay, bet I'm going to require both of you to add this on your list and figure out who this is.
Okay,
Because
I'll
it
do
is
that.
most definitely worth it.
Maybe not this
Purvis,
weekend, but I will.
Purvis, I never
Yeah.
got that list. You showed me a playlist at one point that was like 16 hours long or something or more.
Yep.
You never sent it to me. I was like, I need that.
I got you right now. My vault playlist is about a week long now. It's
Oh
more than
shit.
a week,
Okay, yeah, I'm
actually.
gonna need that. I've got a
been
long
massive.
road trip coming up sometime in November, so I'm gonna need something for it.
Oh,
Yep, I was
wow.
about to say. It's all genres, so you just hit shuffle and close your eyes. Well, don't close your eyes. You're driving.
Or do, you know.
You know,
We're
you make it
speeding through the flats of southern Illinois. You know what's gonna happen.
You
That
could
is
hurt
true.
some cows.
Oh no.
You're gonna get pulled
Hurt some
over.
corn. Yeah, right. There you go.
But I guess moving on to a much, much, much bigger single, Smino is featuring a track finally for his upcoming album. It will be featuring J. Cole, but the album's coming out on the 21st. Did you hear the snippet that he put on Instagram?
I did not. I'm saving this. I was like, no, I'm just going to dive in when this comes out.
This one's special.
I'm like, there's zero way I don't like play this on the couch like while Rachel's like right next to me, just being like, okay, let's hear this.
Say this is going to be a very special moment for me.
Yeah.
A combination of two greats, in my opinion.
Two absolute fantastic artists, local hometown guy, and like,
I just have so much respect for both of them.
yeah, just
And like what they actually bring to the industry. Love it.
yeah, no, these are hard hitters.
But his album coming out late of next month in October 21st. We have another single. We have Quavo and Takeoff. I guess they dropped Offset. I don't know what the explanation behind that is. They're coming out with an album called OBFIL on the 7th of next week, and it's called Nothing's Changed. I will be interested in listening to this. I'll be honest. Like I will actually want to listen to this, but I'm curious how the Migos are gonna sound like without a Migo. I'm kind of confused.
I mean, I don't know. The Migos, I feel like they lost the plot long ago.
Do you think we outgrown them,
That's possible.
or okay.
Like,
that's an option, but also who is it for? If not us, right? Who is it for now?
I mean, I don't know how old you guys are, but like I'm 30, so probably for people 10 years younger than me. Like,
I guess that is true in college.
Fair. Yeah, I'm 25, so I mean,
Yep.
yeah,
I remember when they came out and changed the game, and now they kind of have set, I guess, the pace.
yeah. I remember when they
That's the
came
way to
out,
put it.
like they completely like redefined like what the popular sound was. You know, not to mention one of the biggest hits of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I just wonder if it's a sound that specifically their version of sound that can last like for an entire career.
I just feel like it served its purpose when they initially came out, and
Yeah.
they kind of redesigned that triplet flow. That was like the
Yeah,
biggest
that was their
thing.
thing,
Every hip hop kind of influencer or channel that releases news and stuff, all they ever talked about was the Migos brought back the triplet flow. And so they 100% affected the game. They changed it a little bit, but now it's kind of, I feel like it's in this zone where it's Gunna, Little Baby, Drake, Young Thug. You put out an album a year because you're almost a brand. You just
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
because it doesn't last past that year.
I mean, you bring up Lil Baby and Young Thug, and like, granted, like, not exactly my types either, but I think undeniably some artists who took this style and did more interesting things with it.
Oh yeah,
You know,
100%.
and I think that's a factor too. You know, eventually, when you make such an impact on the industry, that impact can swallow you.
Yeah, very true. Especially if you can't adapt.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I don't know why they broke up because I also know Offset is coming out with his own album.
Yeah.
I think in November. So I guess we'll see.
I want. What was the one he did with Metro Boomin and 21 Savage? Without Warning. I want Without Warning too. That's what I want.
I'll take a Savage Mode before I get another off Without Warning.
Yeah.
Savage Mode's nasty. But anyway, we also have Trippy Red. He's coming out with a single, Save Me Please, that's going to be a part of the 5th installation, A Love Letter to You. So we're going to have A Love Letter to You. 5 is expected to drop next month in October.
Here's a question, totally not related to this actual release. What do you both think of when artists will kind of just throw some numerals behind the same name for an album over and over and over again like this?
I feel like they need to at least be connected.
Yeah, there has to be some kind of
reasoning behind it.
There has to be some kind of connection. Although, like, you know, my favorite run of albums of the 21st century are all sequels. And, you know, they're kind of like all in the same vein, but it's...
I'm going to say Brockhampton.
Brockhampton and Run the Jewels.
I blame Lil Wayne for this.
Yeah,
that's too many. That's too many of the Carters.
Yeah, it's too many Carters.
But
that is true.
You know, they just have to have some kind of through line. I was
going to say they need to be connected in some sense of way where if the artist is putting out a ton of albums where they can actually number a certain set of them, I feel like one person that actually does it somewhat okay is Logic, even if some of the albums aren't that good. But he has different set. He has a Young Sinatra set.
Aesthetically
he has
aligned, yeah.
They all fit within certain categories of his own discography. That works.
I can't remember exactly which ones it was, but I remember Uzi, the Love Is Rage series. I remember really thinking those were like, okay, like I get why this is like a series. Even for someone like Uzi, who I don't think is like particularly like dynamic, I think he just has a sound, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And he's great. I love Uzi. But, like, you know.
Does it?
Yeah.
So then, one other little follow-up here. What are your thoughts on something like that where you have two albums that are very similar in concept, or two or more, that kind of follow this path of they all have a similar name and they're just numbered, versus two albums from an artist or more that are all very similar in concept but have very different kind of presentation and musicality to them, even if the concepts are the same? You know, in terms of like what it's being written about, what the kind of theme of the album is.
Can you give me like an example of the former?
Yeah, so the latter, my example of that is going to be Tyler, Igor to Call Me If You Get Lost.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like a thematic trilogy.
Because thematically, yeah, those albums are the same thing. It's longing and kind of trying to distance oneself from one's passion in a way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you look at the presentation on both and all of the accompanying media and all like the musicality of it, and they're very different productions, you know?
Yeah, I think like The Weeknd's last two releases can fall really cleanly into that too.
Mm-hmm.
Where they're almost like sequels to each other. But like they're not, one's a house music album and one's like R&B.
I was going to say you compared it to like the Channel Orange and Blind thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think like the best case scenario would be like, I don't think there's a reason why you can't do both.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I would say like with a numbered album, there's that expectation.
For sure.
You know? And Um, yeah, that's basically all I got. You know, like I think the best example of an artist that does it like really well is like Run the Jewels. They captured like the political turmoil of that moment in time, like perfectly. And you know, but it's all just like it's a sequel, so it kind of does both at the same time.
I get that. But,
yeah, I mean,
okay.
I'm all in the sequels. Like, it doesn't bother me. Like, I would take a good sequel over a bad anything else.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I guess I never really thought about the numbers that way, but yeah, I see you.
Yeah.
But I guess wrapping up the last little singles, then we also have Roddy Ricch dropping "Stop Breathing." We've talked a little bit about him on the podcast. Do you feel like it's almost over? I feel like he's past his opportunity for being his peak performer.
I
He
definitely
never made it out of the box. R.I.P.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think you never want to say never because like everything is so volatile nowadays.
True.
But yeah, like he definitely did not capitalize on the success of the box.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So we'll see what loyal fans.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I personally I like Roddy Ricch. I'm not the biggest fan just because like I'm not super into like his subgenre of hip hop, but like you know like I think he's a cut above the average guy in his lane.
Yes,
that's fair. Yeah,
definitely. Give him. Which unfortunately that lane is
not
come and gone very quickly.
There's a reason
You're
why
in the industry for about 3 years.
It's a reason why it's the lane I don't really go. Like
it's the lane that J. Cole said was going to happen a little pump, and nobody expected it.
Oh my god, he was so right, dude. I listened to 1985 recently, dude. It's like Nostradamus.
this man can see the future. But
and who's still selling out shows? Like
kind of crazy because we went to two of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess finishing up, then we also have one music video. We are back to having some music videos. But Sir Jid is dropping the music video to the song "Money" on his new album, and it looks hype.
Purvis.
Yes.
I have come around on Money quite a bit.
Yes. Good.
I've come around on it quite a bit.
I'm telling you, that was good, man. It's really good.
There's like no bad songs on that album.
There is no bad. It's insane because like it started off as a joke where just like Jid better, but like in reality, Jid is better than
he's like
90% or more of the songs that come out this year,
especially of the people who have been in the game as long as he has.
Yes,
you know, like. Once again, like there's really only one other artist in that group that's like competing with him, and we all know who it is.
Denzel.
It's Denzel Curry.
Our two captains.
I gotta say, major props for releasing an album in 2022 that's actually an hour in length.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mess with that.
That is also true.
Yeah, it's the rare album length album.
And you're okay with it being an hour. Yeah. Don't forget that part.
You know, I do think it's fair to say that as much as I prefer albums to be like 45 minutes to an hour, or even shorter if it's good, like ultimately quality is king though. You know, like.
But it's impressive. That's what I'm saying. Like it's impressive if you actually make it an hour, and I'm like not upset about it.
And like especially like an album like The Forever Story where it just breezes by.
Right.
Yeah.
Great way to consume time.
Yeah.
We love that. Right. But on to the actual news. We have a very wide range, so bear with me. One thing I want to throw in here, this kind of happened last week, but we missed last week, unfortunately. But Lil Nas X is having either a single or part of the soundtrack for a song called Star Walking in League of Legends.
I saw this. He's an ambassador for the brand now, apparently.
Yeah.
I don't even know how that happened, but that's insane.
Yeah, no,
that's pretty big.
He's probably like one of the biggest pop stars on the planet right now.
Yeah, honestly.
Which
is impressive because I don't even like recall all his music like that.
Oh, I do.
Like, when was the last project?
Oh, last year, dude. He was everywhere with Industry Baby and Montero. Oh
And
my,
before that, he, it was Hey Panini and,
Yeah.
Old Town
obviously
Road.
Old Town Road just
Yeah,
kind of holding it down since like 2018.
yeah. His last album too. Like, look, it's pop. It's not exactly my lane. It's good though. Undeniably good.
But that's what I'm saying. We only see an album and a couple of singles. How has he ascended to this glory?
I
I think a lot of it has to do with social media presence.
Yeah,
Hmm.
he's really good on social media. And
His
also,
his Twitter's popping.
I also think like the people who like him like really love him.
Oh yeah, like their ride or die or something.
Yeah. And also I think there's something to be said about like him genuinely being like a breakthrough kind of a character.
Right. His history is like important in its own self to be in the music industry and what he had did. Even just coming in with the Old Town Road and the idea of it, how
There's
it changed how people thought about rap and country.
I
That and then, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jasper.
Oh, I was just gonna say that, and then also kind of what he did as far as how he really revealed himself to the public, because at first, it was just okay. This guy makes bangers. That's cool. And then after he had really cemented himself with a pop culture following, he then kind of came out or revealed publicly that he was gay. And
Yeah.
then I think that not only it was like too late for people to back out on like, oh well, suddenly I don't like him, but it also kind of earned him a new swath of fans or people who identified with that and really like appreciated what he was doing as far as making it to a certain point and then cementing yourself in that way so that you can't be forgotten easily.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
totally agree with you, Jasper. And building off that, like I also think, and maybe this is definitely specifically to like my experience as like a cynical 30-year-old, but like, he got a lot of backlash for some of his videos last year. And I have probably a dozen people I know who like him purely for pissing off the right people. Like,
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I feel
like,
like I feel like he's kind of gone the path in that sense of mid 2010s Kanye of like I'm going to make what I'm going to make and I don't care if you don't like it, it's going to bang and it's going to be a hit and it's going to be a classic and there's nothing you can do about it. And so far it's been working out.
yeah. No, the guy's ruling it right now.
So I'm very excited for the day that comes when we do an episode about gaming and these artists.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
that'd
he
be
will
dope.
definitely get a large section of that.
Yeah, cuz he just owns that space.
Just this alone, he just started up like esports in reality. Like League of Legends is the biggest esport, so you gotta like focus on that too.
It's
Yeah.
going to be
This
like
is
him and Snoop Dogg.
yeah, this is a big change. um but moving on, unfortunately we have much more depressing news.
Yeah, some sad news.
So Brandon, you got to see his last performance.
Yeah. I mean, I only saw a little bit of it because I didn't think it was going to be his last performance. But Coolio
Yep.
passed at the age of 59.
And it's very, very sad news once again.
Yeah, wrote
I,
the first rap song I ever liked was by Coolio. It was the Keenan and Kel theme song.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Granted, I
That's
was
pretty
like
dope.
6, but like,
I mean, but even still, it shows
yeah.
how long he's been a name and a public figure.
I think he also did
It's
the All That theme, which, as we all know, really hard. Goes real hard.
I'm gonna say, I just hope he got paid for it.
Yeah.
Like Nickelodeon would have did him dirty.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, unfortunately, we have the passing of Coolio. It is a little bit more comforting that he had a more fulfilling life. I feel like a lot of the artists we have die young, but I don't think we got a confirmed cause of death. I think what was rumored was a heart attack,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, he was at a friend's house or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but by all means, we honor what he did, what he brought to the community, and
Yeah.
everything like
That
that.
he was a game changer. He was one of the
Mhm.
first huge stars of the genre. And like,
Yep.
look, it was literally before, right around the time I was born, before you guys were born. So it was early days, and that work means a lot. We
Mhm.
wouldn't be here without it.
Yep, I agree 100%.
Yeah. So
Um,
rest in peace, Coolio. Thanks for
R.I.P.
being a cool
so
dude.
Some other stuff that we have to cover as well. Two things I kind of wanted to wrap into one because we have people in the community, like public figures, positive people to represent hip hop, are being put on a platform to kind of perform for us in the world. We have Rihanna being officially selected to perform at the Super Bowl, which is huge,
massive,
one of the biggest sports events in the world.
The most viewed concert in the world is the Super Bowl every year. Yeah.
And then right after, on top of that, we have Little Baby is announced to perform at the World Cup, which is probably the biggest tournament of the world.
Oh yeah.
So huge up to the community. I love that they were selected for this. I don't even know what songs they're gonna play, but I'm here for it.
When is the World Cup?
That will be this winter. We have in United States is in it, so
oh my god, I'm gonna
people talking.
I want to follow the World Cup this year. That's something I want to do.
You should, honestly. I wouldn't say pick USA, but
I have a Mexico
but we're
jersey
in it.
I have in case I need soccer or like.
Yeah, they made that. They'll be doing okay. They're a little bit. They're better than us, but anyway. Some other stuff to kind of talk about. We have Pusha T releasing a second diss track with Arby's. How do you feel about this?
I think it's a great brand play.
I don't know how I feel about it, for being honest.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not against it. Like, get the bag, but
yeah, like I'm certainly not mad at Pusha T, but part of me is like, this reeks of like this was concocted in a room full of white people in an office like the one I work at.
So your office?
Yeah, basically. Like maybe cooler, maybe one with like a slide, but like
I'll tell you what, if you actually look at the lyrics, they do bang.
I don't doubt it. I bet they let Pusha T do whatever he wants, and Pusha T's great.
He gave us a whole type of thing, and I was like, oh, this is actually a real Pusha T song.
I'd watch Pusha T diss a baby. I would actually.
He did that. Remember the Drake beef?
Oh yeah. Yeah, literally.
So I haven't listened to this yet, or I haven't, paid attention to what he's been doing with Arby's, but just seeing that line reminds me of when Hamburger Helper put out a mixtape.
Yeah, it's.
Wait, I missed that.
Yeah,
the Hamburger
Watch the Stove by Hamburger Helper.
Funny.
Yeah.
They have a song called "Feed the Streets."
That is funny. No, I'm gonna have to check this out.
Yeah, it's always like I always cringe when brands try to get in the hip hop space because like it's not good.
It's never a good idea.
If it's not the poke rap, I don't want it.
Yeah,
even that. No.
And like you think about like how, because like it's kind of interesting because there are some brands who have like implanted themselves in certain cultures. Hennessy is like Hennessy is where it's at in the culture now.
Yep.
By design, like
there's a reason.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Adidas and Nike both in their own unique paths over like a pretty long period of time too have like built up that repertoire.
Yeah, and they've done it like it feels like any attempt for any brand to get into the hip hop space is just like
it feels inorganic.
It feels inorganic in a way that the Nike and Adidas stuff isn't.
Yeah, it's because good things take time, and they. I feel like a big part of it is because a lot of times it's when it becomes more genuine when artists or artists' fans seek out a brand because it can do something for them, not the other way around.
Yeah.
And I feel like we don't see that as much now. It's like, oh, what's the next big like viral marketing stunt we can pull to attract customers? When instead of that, instead of focusing on just making a product that, might appeal to those customers to begin with and get some kind of groundswell.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the way to build it, like, at launch. I also think in the case of Adidas and Nike, there's something to be said about, like, their connection to the culture is very authentic because their connection to the culture ultimately, at least with Nike, has been sports. Right?
Oh, for sure.
And it's like Nike has an obvious, very genuine, authentic connection with sports. And then obviously that's going to bleed through because sports are kind of the unspoken fifth pillar of any culture.
Yep.
Specifically like basketball and hip hop.
Yeah, I would agree. And I mean, you look at Adidas, they did it in somewhat the same way, but they had a much earlier kind of cultural
Yeah,
push with Run DMC
yeah,
and My Adidas and everything there. You know, their whole branding from I think it was 2016 onward was creators focused, where it's like calling all creators, and it, on the surface it's kind of disingenuous because it's pretty abstract or it looks disingenuous. But then you look back to the roots and it's like, man, yeah, these people were just out there like making music,
yeah.
and this was the uniform.
Now,
So
correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure my Adidas was just something Run CMC made.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
So they just did it, and then they had fans hold up superstars at a concert or whatever, and then they got the first ever like real brand deal for artists like that.
yeah,
So that when I was saying like it feels more genuine when an artist or an artist's fan base embraces a brand is for like that exact reason, because they didn't have to be marketed to. It was just like they fell in
yeah,
love with the product because it did something for them, and that
yeah,
was it.
yeah. And I think like it all comes back to that organic connection. Like I think
Mhm.
a brand that has like navigated the hip hop era pretty well is probably, and it's weird because we don't think of it as a brand, you think of it as a platform, but it very much is a brand. Is SoundCloud.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Hmm.
more than anything else.
I mean, it's the perfect platform for a lot of people that are trying to come up in the industry.
Yeah, and it's like something that I've been thinking about and like very shallowly because I've been very busy at work, but like is the barrier to entry. Like I get that SoundCloud was so big because of the very low barrier to entry. But like the barrier to entry on Spotify is not much harder. We're on Spotify. Chances
Right.
are you're listening to this on Spotify right now. Like,
If we can do it,
so it's like
literally
And
anytime.
now let's take a break for our sponsor.
we don't do sponsors. We're the unpaid nobodies anyway.
There you go.
They really just take everything from us.
Brought to you by Riots.
Sheer
Throw a brick in a cop
willpower.
car. Like,
Unrelenting will and too much free time are the sponsors of today's episode.
yeah, exactly. That's what
We
makes
got that.
that's what podcasts are made out of. Like,
Literally.
all right, let's round this out.
All right.
Do you want to talk about the messy reference to Rolling Loud?
Yep, we had Rolling Loud New York 2022 last week. All your big name artists show up, and it was just, there were some good performances out there, no problem,
I don't
or
doubt
no
it,
doubt,
but like it always seems like Rolling Loud is a shit show.
right. It was a lot of messy, random stuff that popped off. We have multiple memes of ASAP Rocky jumping into the crowd because they turned his mic off, and he was also late or something. Something about Playboy Cardi was almost passing out when he ended up in the pit. 21 Savage said he's never going to ever perform at another Rolling Loud. Something regarding all rumors that he could have showed up too late or something. There were major names like Ski Mask and Big Shine that were all scheduled and never even got on stage, never even performed.
Insane.
It was just a whole bunch of random messy stuff.
It seems like Rolling Loud is kind of like the hot mess of music festivals.
Right now, no doubt. I don't know how it even became.
And I say that having gone to Riot Fest this year. So like,
yeah.
I mean, I just feel like it's one of the more major ones that literally everywhere you see Rolling Loud Miami, Rolling Loud Toronto, like literally all these things just happen. So like they constantly have concerts going on. It's just
yeah.
I don't know.
Has there been a Rolling Loud Chicago?
No, not that I know of.
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of. And now that you say it, it's weird that it hasn't been.
Yeah. Well, I think because Chicago already has like a pretty dominant music festival.
That is very true.
But it's not.
Year,
we don't have a hip hop centric one though. We have a very mainstream music festival nowadays.
Well, Lyrical Lemonade has their summer jam.
Oh
thing.
yeah.
Oh, that
And
actually
that's been picking up. Yeah.
It's been picking up,
right.
but like I don't think it's in the same league as Lala or Riot Fest or Pitchfork.
Oh yeah, no, not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
It's
Definitely
getting
something I
there.
want to check
Right.
out. Something,
I was going to say it's getting there.
yeah, and I want to go to Lyrical Lemonade next year.
Oh, I'm 100% going. After
I need to do
Isaiah
that,
came on, and he talked about like
Yeah.
Lil Uzi, Playboy Cardi, like these are major headliners.
Yeah.
But there is a difference between having that and then having like the headliners that were here. What was like Nicki Minaj, Future, and someone else. Like those are big hot headliners.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're not there yet.
Yeah, definitely.
But they might be next year.
I need to see Uzi again, man. It's been too long.
Yeah.
That is one it's slowly becoming on the list. I've almost went to everyone I want to see. I need Frank Ocean and Travis, and then it starts branching out like Uzi.
True, yeah. I saw him at Coloring Day, and since then he's just taken off, and I've just like haven't seen him live since.
That was the first time I ever heard him. Was at
Coloring
Day.
Yep,
that was live. That was the first song ever I've heard of him.
That was a great day to discover new music.
Yes, yes, it was.
I was living in the South Loop, so you guys just destroyed my transportation that day.
Oh, I know. I was living off of the Fullerton Red Line. I know exactly how that went.
Oh yeah, I'm not far from the Fullerton Red Line right now.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
What a time.
What a time. Fuck off. Anyway, so let's put on our tinfoil hats, ladies and gentlemen.
Right. Let's get ready to
Let's go.
It's time. We're going to connect some boards. Frank Ocean. If you're listening to this, Frank Ocean might have dropped.
There's no shot. There's no shot.
I don't think so. I believe you. I'm on your side. But one, like, this seems to be a legitimate groundswell that I think is unique. And the other thing is, so someone tweeted out like y'all tripping, Frank Ocean's retired, and the title account was like, is he? Like, so like I think like there are some teases that like there might be something coming. And if there's ever an artist, look, if there was ever an artist to do an unannounced drop,
it would be him.
I once again, like, he cleared his Instagram page. That's the main thing everyone is saying. There's been other little like hints, but we don't know.
So, Brandon, I have a question. And the reason I wanted to talk about this as well is it becoming a little weird. I feel like it's a little weird. The fact that people, because we talked about this earlier today and why I thought there's no way it can actually, like, it's just another time that it's trending. There's no way he's going to drop. It's because Frank Ocean, I feel like, is randomly trending on Twitter at least once a month or every other month. And it, like, when you look into it, it's always the most minute, small, little things. The community is, like, weirdly obsessed at this point.
I don't think that's by accident, though.
Yeah, I don't think that's by accident. And also, I think it is an intensified version of, like, just the culture of celebrity we cultivate in our society. Right? Like, is Frank Ocean really more pursued than Kanye? Really more pursued than, like, I don't know, like, who are the people who are all over the fucking media? Like, Dua Lipa? I don't know. Like, sure, there might be more of a fan swell, and we probably hear it more because it's in our ecosystem.
Right.
But I don't know if he's legitimately... I think there is something to be said about him, like, being... like, us just being obsessed with celebrities far too much. But I don't know if Frank Ocean is, like, the worst one. You know what I mean?
I agree, but I think Frank stands out in terms of, if you look at the timeline of how long he's been a public figure and how long people have felt this way about him and his music relative to how much work he has actually produced, I think you'll find that ratio is way higher relative to someone like Kanye, who's been, famous and, a worldwide celebrity for 20 plus years at this point almost, but has, going on, a dozen albums or so. So... Yeah. But yeah, like, I think there's something to be said for the body of work really kind of carrying, even though,
but
there's not as much.
Yeah, but there are artists who have sustained a career on even less. Like, look at Lauryn Hill.
That's true.
I guess that is true.
Yeah.
But I guess it also depends on what is like a career versus staying culturally relevant, kind of at the forefront of what, I mean, Blonde re-entered the top, 200 during the early stages of the pandemic, just randomly.
Yeah, because
I was literally about to say that's another reason it was trending. It was
it's because these bitches want Nikes.
What is I love that's the best opening line of any album.
I know.
It's so good. It is
So
so good.
so yeah, I mean there's that, but also there seem to be like all these little things that kind of happen. His brand Homer's been making waves lately and actually caught a little bit of
And
criticism
boners.
for
Yep.
oh yeah. Yeah, well there's been
Packers.
some criticism of just like the pricing around that whole
Yeah.
line and people being kind of upset with that. And so there's been I think positive and negative in that way, and that's kind of kept things kind of rolling in that sense.
Hmm.
And then every once in a while, you get like a viral video of somebody who's just like in New York City and sees him riding around on his bike with like no handlebars or something. And it's like, oh, hey, Frank Ocean still exists. Oh my God, maybe he's going to make music soon.
I think he
Yeah.
hates making music.
At this point, he's just like, I hate everybody.
I feel like the vibe is he makes music when he has to or when he feels the need to like share an idea. It's like, is Frank Ocean happy today? Okay, no music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's oh
Someone
my
broke his
God.
heart.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I don't know what this next one could be. I really think like the pandemic stole a Frank Ocean album from us.
It's very, very, very possible.
Because,
we were
like-
even going to get him at Coachella that year.
Yeah. Well, also like I think like it was gonna be like all house music and like it was gonna be
Yep.
like rolled out live. Remember he was gonna be doing like those tours.
Bro, we had a whole theory about the little images on the bottom of every single saying that it
Dude,
was each song. Like
we
we dove in.
Flat Earth the shit out of those singles.
Like we were like full on. I just finished my master's. I'm gonna figure this out. Like
we were Da Vinci.
Zodiac Killer,
Yeah, like-
Zodiac Killer analyzing Frank Ocean.
Yeah, you know that scene from
Literally.
fucking It's Always Sunny where Charlie's like,
Yeah.
That was
They
literally
still-
So you're gonna like this. That's actually the like profile photo for my surfer on Discord.
That's amazing.
It's just literally. No, I feel that. Yeah.
add us to the server. That'd be fun.
I got you. I think Purvis is already in. Let me send you that.
Yep.
There you go.
All right. Well, we've made it through the news finally. We have a little bit to talk about. We all went to some concerts recently.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Brandon, do you want to start it off?
Yeah, I'll start it off because like I think mine's a lot less relevant. So I was lucky enough to go to all 3 days of Riot Fest this year. Riot Fest is just for the listeners if you don't know, it's like much more punk focused. You know, punk, heavy metal, rock music. And I went specifically to see My Chemical Romance. And
Everybody did.
everyone, the entire fucking city did.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I saw My Chemical Romance and Nine Inch Nails. Those were the main people I went to go see. On the hip hop side, the only people I got to see was briefly. I saw Coolio, and I got to see Action Bronson.
That's
That's
fair.
pretty hard.
Dude, Action Bronson was great.
No surprise
Dude,
there.
he
for me.
has so much energy on stage.
Did we have a feature? So did someone come out? Like a
No,
guest?
someone came out, but it was like it was a small time dude. It wasn't someone I
okay.
know by name.
Okay.
But the thing that was really cool is he had Derringer, the producer for all the Griselda stuff, like actually there
okay.
DJing for him.
Fire.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
So he put on a great fucking show. Honestly, if you ever get a chance to see Action Bronson, like he usually like when he comes here, he usually does a lot smaller venues, and it's cool because the tickets aren't super expensive, but they get kind of hard to get.
Yeah. Blue House vibes.
Yeah. So like when he comes to town, worth it.
Mm.
But so the thing I like about Riot Fest is I 100% think it's like the best festival in the city. But Lala has better shows, if that makes sense.
Okay. You
Like-
I
it
agree.
just
I
feels
feel
more
like the
complete?
vibe is right.
Yeah, the
on
vibe
something
is
like
right.
Riot Fest.
There's a lot of like
Yeah.
local food. There's a lot of like local vendors. You know how like you go to those festivals, there's like the big screens like next to the stage.
Mhm.
Mm.
So like one Riot Fest, like the main stages, there were two next to each other. My Chemical Romance used both because they were
Jesus
so
Christ.
fucking huge. And then all weekend it was just one after another, right? And they had the big screen in the middle of the two stages, and they were playing like local comedians and like YouTube content from like local YouTubers and like TikTokers and shit. So it was like really cool how they were really cultivating like a very local vibe. The reality is, though, like, I don't think you're gonna get shows like on the scale of like the J. Cole set we saw.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just not that grandiose.
Okay.
You know, but my chem was the largest crowd I've ever been in, bar none. And
did they get an actual number on the?
I don't think so, but ballparking it, like, I would say more than United Center, less than Soldier Field.
Okay.
You know, like, it was absolutely massive. Like, there were points where, like, me and my girl were having panic attacks, like, trying to get out. Like, we were herded like cattle. Like, there was zero space. Like, do you remember when we were trying to get out of Donda and it was pretty bad?
Yeah.
Not even close. And
Donda wasn't even that bad.
It wasn't bad, like, in the seats because it was like a stadium.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, getting out, I didn't have trouble personally.
It wasn't like I wouldn't describe us as having trouble, but I would say that it was tight.
Like a wave of
that's
just a lot
fair.
of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like a ton of people, and yeah, it was not ideal.
Well,
and this was even worse.
I was literally about to say there was rumors because I saw a whole bunch of people posting their stories about them putting up signs of people to stand back and all these other things.
Yeah, like the band stopped after every song to tell people to move back. Easily 15 times. At least one time the band left the stage and the production crew had to come out and say it. Where we were at, it was kind of contradictory because the people were breaking out into moshes like every 30 seconds and not like gentle ones. And but they were like being relatively considerate. Like if someone fell down, if someone was passing out, and there were a ton of people passing out, like they were very good at like getting those people to safety, making sure to pick them up, shit like that. So there was a tension there. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I saw a lot of stuff about people getting injured and also the trains not running well to get people in and out.
Oh,
which was a problem.
we drove.
Yeah, I had some friends who took public, and it was just they were waiting 20 plus minutes, packed platforms. You know,
I took public transit to Riot Fest last year, and after like I took public transit home after Run the Jewels last year, and it took me 4 hours.
Sheesh.
Public transit was great for Lala, but it's not good for Riot Fest.
And
it's in Douglas Park, the same park as Lyrical Lemonade.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, just putting this out there, 9 Inch Nails, one of the greatest sets I've ever seen in my entire life. It just absolutely so vibey. I was incredibly twisted.
Was it better than even the Metallica?
I don't know about that. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's the best set I've ever seen in my life, but like, it's top 5 for sure. Like, the thing that was cool is they had, like, the laser light show was, like, throughout the crowd. Like, they had lights on the sound panels and everything. So it was like you were inside the performance. And also, 9 Inch Nails is, like, they're an interesting band, in my opinion. You know, their music is, like, a mix of, like, hard rock, kind of gentle heavy metal, and, like, rave music. There's, like, a huge electronic portion. So it's an interesting vibe.
Okay.
Now, the thing I wanted to bring up to you guys here is, you know, something I've heard, like, just through some friends who know people who work at Riot Fest, is now that they're done with, like, catching up with the 2020 show, as they move out forward, they want to, like, broaden the hip-hop presence there. After, like, all the success they had with Ice Cube, Run the Jewels.
I was going to say Ice Cube was there, right?
Wu-Tang has been there a few times.
That's pretty dope.
Lupe was there. Lupe and Vic Mensa were there last year. So they're really trying to blow that out. My question is for you guys, like, I know you guys, I have no idea how close Jasper is. I know Purvis has probably only heard of it through me. But, like, what are some artists you want to throw out that would, like, maybe fit in at that fest, you think?
Like specifically at Riot Fest?
Yes.
Hmm. Man, I mean, all the stuff I could think of is like kind of a lot like MCR, where it's like stuff that was popular like a good long while ago that hasn't toured or been together for years.
Yeah.
But God, if ever Jet were to do a reunion, I would sell a kidney to
Yeah.
go to that. Oh my God, Jet. Let's see, the D4. I mean, they're like nobody knows who that is, but dear listener, look up the space D as in dog and the number four. Super cool band from like New Zealand, made a bunch of cool shit and then just disappeared off the face of the earth like 15 years ago. Um, man, what else? I have playlists for this. Let me just
I
see.
was saying like hip hop artists.
Oh, hip hop
Because that's the
artists.
thing, they're expanding the hip hop presence at the festival.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good question then.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like
the
I think
obvious ones are like Denzel, but I mean, breaking off of that.
yeah, Denzel's obvious and boring, to be honest. I
That's
think
what I'm saying,
ASAP
breaking off
Rocky
of
would
that.
probably be a pretty good one.
Ooh,
ASAP would be fire.
ASAP would be
that
fire.
will fit there.
I think if they really wanted to like push people's buttons, they would book Travis.
Or Tyler.
Tyler.
Yeah.
Tyler would be a perfect
Tyler's
fit.
a perfect fit for that, I think.
Yeah, Tyler's a perfect fit for Riot Fest. Absolutely.
I mean, but even like you said, you were saying Travis. I mentioned this when we were doing the Metallica. Travis is basically my rage version or something like that, where it's like by pushing my boundaries of my hip hop,
Yeah.
going more into another genre.
Yeah, the thing is that I think emotionally Travis is like in that Riot Fest vein, and I think that's what matters most. But it's interesting because he's not like aesthetically borrowing from rock the same way that like Denzel does a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I think he does lean into it a bit. I mean, you look at some of the more like toned down tracks on Astroworld and you look at who's featured and like what he brings in with it. And it's definitely I definitely wouldn't just call it like pure hip hop by any stretch, but I feel like his stage presence is much more in line with that than his actual recorded work is.
I
But that would be an
agree,
interesting
yeah.
way to see it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and something
yeah.
we've talked about quite a bit on this show is like, you know, performing live and making music are just two completely different skill sets.
For sure.
In
Yeah.
the live
I mean,
version, now that you say that, 100%, much
Yeah.
more towards the rock.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Travis like falling off the stage in London with Drake, and
Yeah.
like imagine that energy brought to Riot Fest.
Yeah.
That'd be fire.
Yeah.
I know a bunch of people would boycott it because of unfortunate recent events, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
And
their prerogative.
and that's why I say like if they wanted to push people's buttons because
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
especially after seeing what happened at My Chemical Romance, like
Yeah.
like Astroworld
imagine.
would destroy like
Dude,
There'll be many, many more deaths.
I'd like to see some smaller artists who are like, I'd say popular, but maybe haven't found a footing in, I would say outside of like more niche kind of communities. I'd like to see like Ken Carson.
okay,
Okay.
that's a cool one.
I think Ken
Yeah,
Carson would be
yeah.
cool. Cardi would be cool, just because that
Yeah,
that energy.
Rage,
That's
yeah,
that same energy.
The exact same energy as Riot Fest.
Yeah. What else, man? Let's see.
This is not an this
Young
is not
Thug.
an
Young
easy
Thug,
one.
100%.
Young
If-
Thug could totally do it. Yeah.
Young Thug, and if he were still alive, X would be a great choice.
Oh, obviously, yeah.
Yeah,
That'd be
X would be a
huge.
good choice.
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. Same with Peep, but like that's almost like too obvious.
Yeah.
That's
more
pretty-
rock almost anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I know it's like kind of a stretch, but I feel like Post Malone could do okay.
I feel like Post
could
Malone
fit
is
there.
like pop though. I don't think he's hip hop.
He
Yeah,
has
but
his
I feel like
moments.
he's a little softer just in general than
Yeah.
than most like Riot Fest stuff is.
Yeah, he is, but I think he would fit.
I think Pusha
Hmm.
T would fit too. Now that I
Oh
think
yeah.
about it.
Pusha
When
T
I
would
asked
be
Jeff,
nice.
that was the name he gave was Pusha T.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
That's a good idea.
Pusha T would definitely fit. I'm just trying to think of people who really bring like that rage
Flatbush
energy.
Zombies.
Trippy Red.
Flatbush
Oh,
Zombies.
Trippy Red's a really good answer.
Oh, Trippy Red.
Flatbush Zombies. Flatbush Zombies feels in line with like the type of hip hop artists they do already bring.
Hmm.
Which is like cool because I feel like it's a very realistic.
Let's see.
I feel like if he ever were to kind of come out of music retirement and do some of his older stuff, the energy that Gambino has live would match.
Yeah.
We
You know,
watched
actually,
him.
did you see him live?
Yeah, I went to the Awaken My Love tour at United Center in 2018.
Oh, I'm jealous.
It
Wow.
was, I'll be honest, not my favorite show. Just super cool to see him live, but definitely not my favorite set.
So I saw him in Lala 2019,
Yeah, I would love to see that. That
and
sounds wild.
that is still probably to this day like Metallica dethroned him, but he was probably number one for a long time.
I actually need to make sure that was 2018. I don't remember if it was 2018 or 19 he did United Center.
I
When
think it
was
was
the
the
Awaken
end
My
of
Love
20.
tour?
I remember that it was like the end of 2018.
Yeah, I remember buying the tickets and it was cold out and seeing him and it was not cold
Mhm.
out. So it was like a long time between.
Mm. Mm.
Ugh. But yeah, oh, Ski Mask. Ski Mask could totally
Oh,
do
obviously,
Riot
yeah.
Fest. Like,
Yeah, that wouldn't even be a question.
yeah, Ski Mask would fucking kill.
September 8th, 2018
Yeah,
There you go.
was the Chicago date.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, shall we move on to the main course?
The main
Let's.
course, yeah.
Yeah, I would say just because like Riot Fest was an aside. I know it's like only tangentially related.
I mean, even still,
Yeah.
but
I think Cudi could make it at Riot Fest.
Oh yeah,
just,
dude. That would
just
be,
let him do WZRD with Dot. That would be
dude,
fire.
dude. Wizard at Riot. Oh my god, Wizard at Riot Fest would be probably the greatest possible thing.
Wizard
That
at
is-
Riot Fest, and then like 5 songs off of Speed and Bullet.
I would commit arson. Like I think
Confused live.
that
Oh
would
my
be like one of
God.
the biggest shows in the city. Like, God.
Man.
All right. So now, Purvis, was this your first time seeing Cudi?
this actually was my first time seeing Kid Cudi. The second he announced it, I just purchased 2 tickets. I didn't even think about it,
Yeah.
and
I remember you asked.
It was, yeah.
You asked me, but
was,
I'd
quite
already
the
had tickets to
experience.
Riot Fest.
Do you regret it?
No, not at all.
I don't think anybody
Okay.
regrets seeing MCR just because they've
No.
been apart for so long. It was
Yeah.
like a big deal for a lot of people.
MCR is like it would be like it would be like seeing Outkast. Like that's like the hip hop equivalent.
Okay, yeah, that would,
Yeah.
You know,
No,
and
that's
like even if
facts,
you don't
yeah.
fuck with Outkast, like
you
you're
gotta
not-
go see Outkast.
You gotta go see
Like,
Outkast. Yeah, so like
100%.
that's my feeling on it. Like, yeah, they're the Outcast of the musical side of the world. I don't really participate. Like,
No, I get that, but even still, I will say it was a fantastic show to see. I went with a couple of my high school friends. Some of his friends from his college came along as well. It was actually really exciting. They weren't necessarily huge Kid Cudi fans, but they just like concerts, so
Wow.
it wasn't hitting them like it was hitting me. I loved all of it. I wrote down the track list as well on my phone while we were going along. It was quite the performance. He gave it his all. I found out it was the last show, a part of the tour, and like I've seen shows in the United Center. We went to go see J. Cole. I went to go see Kendrick there. Kendrick Lamar's set was a little bit different because it had some more massive performances, but man, Kid Cudi used every single thing I think the United Center had.
yeah,
He had the lights going, he had the flame going, the smoke going. The stage performance was by none like the best that I've seen so far.
Were you down in the pit or were you in the seat?
So personally, I was in third, Jasper.
I was in 100 level. There was no pit. The floor was all seating, not actual pit, like
Okay.
standing. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think I was 8th row of 100 level on the slightly left side. So I was like directly across from the stage, across where the basketball court would be, just off to the left.
Yeah. Now, have you
Yeah.
seen Kid Cudi before, Jasper?
Yeah, I saw him at Passion Pain in 2017.
Was that the
When he
only
brought
time you
Kanye
seen
out.
him? Yeah.
That was the only other time I've seen him, but
Yeah.
yeah, man, what a show. Just like
Yeah.
it took him 5 years to come back, but I would say it was worth it
Yeah,
for sure.
I
no
mean,
question.
Don't get me wrong. Like, part of me is like, fuck, I really wish I could have seen that. Especially if I could have seen like one of the spots with Denzel on the tour. Like, but yeah, I've seen him twice before too. So it's like he's an artist I want to see again, just because he's
Mhm.
one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, I would say that it's been a long time, but I would say that Kid Cudi has consistently been my favorite artist of all time for like most of my adult life, and that hasn't changed. Like with everything he's put out, good and bad, just hasn't changed. So
Yeah.
I may be a little biased, but yeah, it was a really good show. I'm a little surprised by some of the songs he picked, but not in a bad way. Just in a I didn't expect it, but it's interesting that he did that kind
Well,
of thing.
like what example?
Well, so we'll go through the set list, but I'm a little surprised he did Dive off of Man on the Moon 3, and
That
I'm also
is
surprised he
the
did
song I'm most jealous
Memories.
you guys saw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I mean
love
it was
Dive.
fucking beautiful. Like it was
Yeah.
the presentation of it was great. I just didn't realize that that song was, I guess, so popular off
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
Man on the Moon 3. I didn't think of that as being like a headline, not a headliner, but like a hit song for him.
What I would say. Sorry, go ahead, Brandon.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say what I would say going into it. I like actually forget it was a tour for an album. So like most of it was supposed to be from Man on the Moon 3, and I like it didn't really click right away.
hmm
And so when he opened up with Down and Out, like I was like, oh, he's gonna like jump right into classics. But then after that, he spread right into the album, and then it kind of like was spread out. He was bouncing in and out the album, and so kind of coming into it, I don't know why I was thinking like about like the classics playlist or the classics album that he dropped.
Yeah, the greatest
But
hits.
Well, not even
right,
greatest hits. He finally got, a kid named
Oh
Cudi
yeah, a kid
on
named Cudi.
Spotify
Yep.
Yeah.
and on
both of them.
streaming. So
Well,
Yep.
so
yeah.
he was going back and forth between Kid Named Cudi and Man on the Moon 3 with some other stuff from the greatest hits in between.
It does seem like
Mhm.
he has like a pretty diverse range of like stuff from his career.
He really does, honestly.
Yeah.
I didn't really think about it, but like I was trying to think what songs did he miss? Because like some of the people I was going with, like I said, are just more like concert goers. It wasn't necessarily the biggest Kid Cudi fans. Like they loved all his original stuff, but kind of broken off since then. Like they were kind of saying how good like the show was in general and stuff like that. But like for me, it was much more personal because I got to see the really old stuff, the really new stuff, and everything in between.
Whoa, did he
100%.
not do Day and Night?
No, and that's the thing. So I gotta say, I've seen him
Yep.
twice.
Did not do
I've
Day
seen him
and Night.
twice. He has not done Day and Night either time I've seen him.
He did it
And
like
the first time I saw him. He did Day and Night.
So
you are lucky.
this is something that I kind of wanted to bring up with him and with other artists, which is part of why I felt kind of mixed about the set list. Is Cudi's one of those artists who I feel like has songs that he always will and always will not perform live, whether it's for, personal reasons, emotional reasons, whatever. And I feel like he's definitely gotten to that point where like there are just certain things that are off limits and certain things that are done in a certain way. Like I watched A Man Named Scott, the Amazon documentary
Yeah.
Hmm.
about him, and he said, I'm always gonna do uh, you know, I'm always going to do Pursuit of Happiness because fans love it and I love seeing their reactions, even though it's like comes from a painful place for me. I always love playing that. And it shows because I remember when I saw him in 2017, he did the original version as it appears on Man on the Moon 1, but then this time he did the Steve Aoki remix. So he's
Yeah.
like doing something more upbeat. It's like he's in a more positive place and he doesn't want to look back to a lot of that, I feel. And
Hmm.
I think Day and Night is like the poster child song of that. There's also certain stuff he just doesn't perform off of, Man on the Moon 2 or, Indicud. That is, some of his, I think, his best work, but he just doesn't go back to for that kind of
Yeah.
reason. And I mean, Tyler gets, flamed for that kind of thing all the time on social media.
Tyler hates doing his own stuff.
Exactly. And I feel very differently about that because personally, I do not like the early Tyler albums compared to his newer stuff.
It's
But,
a
like,
huge gap in quality. At
yeah,
least for me personally.
Yeah, I am a total whore for everything after Flower Boy, like Flower Boy and onward. Everything before that, I'm just like keep it. But that's just how I feel about that one. But for this one, it's like I have so much more like nostalgic connection specifically to like early Cudi stuff that
Mhm.
it just kind of it's tough. It's like bittersweet seeing him perform like the new stuff that I love, but also not going back to some of the things that I kind of like grew up on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I understand that being a bummer. Because like I saw J. Cole twice in a calendar year to
And
hear
he's still-
one song and nope.
Dude.
Like,
That's how I felt about Gambino too. Gambino, when I saw him, didn't do a single song off of Camp.
Yeah, when I saw him,
I was bitter.
Yeah, when I saw him, he didn't do anything off of Because the Internet,
And I took that personally.
or from before Because the Internet, and
Yeah, he did a couple off because the internet, and then just stuff off Awaken My Love.
Oh, I gotta say, quick and Vito hot take. I don't think Camp has aged all that well.
I would agree, but at the same time, I think there are a lot of
there are some
standout
stellar
tracks.
songs. Heartbeat is one of my favorite songs of all time. Less, really good. There are some good songs on the album. I think overall, I was like, wow, this is something I liked because I was 18.
I would agree with that, but at the same time, I think for the time and for how old he was and where he was in his career, it definitely had like a pretty interesting message.
It was
and
a
I don't
moment,
think, and I think that kind of fell on deaf ears when it came to critics. I mean, look at how like Pitchfork reviewed, but of course, Pitchfork reviewing anything hip hop is kind of a joke anyway. But
it's incredible to me that they give like. They gave like Camp like a 1, or like Because the Internet like a 3, and they gave the new Nav album like a 6.5.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, people pay for reviews. It's pretty clear.
Hold up. For Jasper.
They gave Man on the Moon 1 a 6.1, I think, or a 5.4, something like that.
That's easily. I mean, I don't like the whole number thing because I think it flattens a lot of it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
That's why we do grades, because it's a little bit more nuanced.
Right. Kind of flex with it.
But yeah, I understand that bittersweetness of like, oh, the artist isn't always going to do every song you want.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, there are some things that I thought were like popular songs off Man on the Moon 3 that I was surprised he didn't do. Like, he didn't do Heaven on Earth.
He did not.
No,
which I was really surprised by. I'm like, that's a banger, and that ties straight into She Knows This, because like the music videos go hand in hand.
Man, but when you did do She Knows
This,
it was hard.
Insane.
I don't doubt
it was hard. All the songs, like I said, they were pretty amazing.
Yeah. So he brought out Chip the Ripper for Just What I Am,
and for Higher, for both.
He did that. So I saw him the first time. I saw him at NIU. It was like a small on-campus show, and I don't know how we finessed our way in.
What a day!
It was for the Indica. Right after that, he brought out Chip the Ripper for Chip the Ripper opened for him. So like there was an entire set, and then he came out and he kind of like hyped man the entire show. But he did Just What I Am, and God, one of my favorite Kid Cudi songs.
It's every time it just hits. Like there's nothing like that song out there, and he brings Chip out, and they just do it, and it's like they never stopped. It's poetry.
I would say if I'm looking at this right now, the main one that I'm like kind of shocked he did was Mr. Rager and Marijuana. Like, don't get me wrong, love those songs, but I feel like there are like, why wouldn't you do Erase Me?
Well, I gotta say, you might recall he did both of those songs in 2017 too. He did both of those.
You have no idea how fucked up I was that night.
Well, he did. So I'll tell you, because I wasn't. He did both of those songs, and he also didn't do Erase Me, despite having Kanye on stage with him. And I'll tell you why. I can almost guarantee you that's because Kanye doesn't remember the lyrics to his verse. Whatsoever.
Which is insane because it's a fun verse.
Yeah,
dude. I remember they turned on the lights and you heard like the intro to Father Stretch My Hands.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, they're just playing this while we leave. And
what's funny is,
I had like, ladies and gentlemen, Kanye West. It was like, what the shit?
It was funny because I knew that was gonna happen because I had seen Coloring Day was just before that, like the year before, and he had the exact same walk on at Coloring Day where the music started quiet. You thought it was background music in between sets. You know, Tyler had just gone in, and it was supposed to be like Lil Wayne and 2 Chainz next, or whatever. Or no, John Legend next.
Yeah, it was a break.
And there was a break, but suddenly the music just got louder and louder and louder, and suddenly Mr. West walked out wearing all black Calabasas and the fucking Yeezy Zebras, the V2s, and I was just like, this is a moment. Yeah. And then he played one song off of every album going back to College Dropout, pretty much.
Oh my God.
It was absolutely phenomenal. I will never forget that day because during that break, as soon as the last set ended, my guy and I was like, all right, we need to go to the bathroom. And I'm over by like the concession stands on like the top level. And we hear just like, da, 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 da. And we look at each other just like, nah, there's no way. And then we just hear his voice, and we go like a mad sprint back to our seats, and we just see waves of people just jumping.
Yeah,
It
out
was
the field.
it was like the
insane.
Rapture. Like people were running, people were jumping from the 100 level over the dugout and onto the field to like
I don't
get
know
close.
how there was more injuries, or how there was not more injuries. Like, it was insane. People were literally jumping down like 15 feet.
Yeah, it was
field.
unbelievable. That was just a day that's never gonna fade for me. But yeah, I mean, so we had seen that. I had seen that. I knew it was coming. I was with my girlfriend and then two friends, and I literally grabbed them by like the neck of the shirt, and I was like, we need to go forward now before everybody figures out what's happening. And I like shoved us through, and we were probably about 20 feet from the stage, like dead center of the
Jesus
house.
Christ.
And it was insanity. Yeah, they only did the one song, but like, man, if they had done anything else together, dude, I mean, man, anything off of Man on the Moon 1 with both of them would have been insane too.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
Just missed opportunity, but at the same time, like that was just an insane show.
So my question, I guess my final question before we wrap up this conversation about the concert. Did they do anything to because Don Toliver wasn't there?
Well, they had two openers, but other than that, there wasn't anything like super unique.
yeah.
Otherwise, it was just all kind of him and Chip.
I don't think there was anything to replace it. I honestly think there was a time gap that was there purposely for Don Toliver, because we had one opener. It was mostly just like I don't want to say like a DJ guy, but it was a smaller guy called like Steak, I believe it was.
Strick,
yeah. And so he did a couple of songs, but like no one really, I didn't know the songs.
It was probably some local dude.
And then 070 Shake came on, and like
she was really good, dude.
I was gonna say she had a really good performance, but
that
like, I just
set was
didn't see
fire.
a lot of people like.
Yeah,
I felt like a lot of people on the first level I saw kind of vibing with it, but like at least on like the top levels, I would see like maybe 3 people each section that was like actually up and dancing and stuff like that. But she did phenomenal. I think she had a great stage presence. The music that I did recognize was phenomenal.
Yeah.
070 Shake's a talent. I just don't think she's had a breakout project yet.
Exactly.
I mean, she did Ghost Town, which was sick.
Yeah, that's what she ended with, and then everybody was like losing their mind.
I would punch God in the face to see Kid Cudi. Like, you have no idea the awful thing.
I would put my hand on a stove to see if I still feel.
I would bomb a police station to see Kid Cudi goes to concert.
No,
dude,
that would
you're
be
telling
absolutely
me.
insane.
I think like the first of our predictions on this podcast was us being like, "You think Kid Cudi Goes 2 is going to happen this year?"
I remember that. I remember that episode.
If only.
Yeah, and then like the next day.
Dude, we keep doing that.
Yeah, real quick though, tinfoil hat moment. She's been performing that song on the tour. Like, she performed it multiple times. She did it in New York, she did it in Chicago, everywhere else. And Denzel Curry has that line on Just What I Am, pull up in the Phantom like kids see ghosts. So like, who knows? Maybe there is something eventually.
No.
Maybe, you never know.
No.
You never know.
Not with the two of them. Look, I would love it. I would love it so much. I like to think to myself, like, who would be the third Kid Cudi Ghost if they added one? Probably
they
Pusha
are
T.
way too stubborn. They're too hard-headed. There's no way.
It's too much of an ego game.
I don't know, man. I mean, the fact that Kanye and Drake were able to resolve shit, I have faith, because these two are like actually friends, or were actually friends.
Yeah.
I mean, how long were they beefing, Drake and Kanye? Like freaking forever?
Like 4 years, 5 years, like something stupid. Yeah.
I don't know. They're getting too old.
Oh,
like, I don't see
and this,
something coming
I gotta
out
say,
in
this
years.
is also not the first time we've seen Cudi and Kanye have beef.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
It's just like it feels like with Drake, it was a lot more like
that was
aiming at the perceived big dog, because like it or not, Drake is the most popular artist in the world. Like, but Kid Cudi is like an actual friendship, and like, I don't know, like I try not to get caught up in celebrity shit, because like I've want to use my brain for like cyberpunk cheat codes and song lyrics, but like it seems like this is probably a bit more bitter, but who knows? Like,
We can only hope.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
and then he closed out with Love.
He
Brandon,
did, yeah.
I don't
I
know.
love that
We were
song
both
so
kind of
much.
gone that night, but I think I texted you and I was like, Brandon, I'm crying like real tears.
Yeah.
When he
prayer is
played
fantastic.
the prayer, I literally started crying. Like I sat down and like
Purvis.
I literally had to like hide my tears.
Purvis, my boy, I'm disappointed in you. The song literally says, "Please don't cry. Just know that I have made these songs for you."
No,
What are you doing, my boy?
I couldn't hold it in.
You can't hold it in. Look, I
way.
cried. I've cried at hip hop shows before. I cried seeing Lupe Fiasco play "Hip Hop Saved My Life."
Man,
Yeah.
that's a good one to cry to be honest.
So my moment of Waterworks was when he brought out Veda.
Oh yeah, that was
Dude,
special.
that was intense.
When was that?
Was really intense. So that was
towards
in
the end.
between. Yeah, so it was right after Memories. Basically, the way the set was set up, it was like this big kind of almost field full of like plants and vegetation and like a big rock he would sit on between songs. And there was like a big kind of door in the middle with this angled roof line to it. And so he like walked in through that door, and then he would like have people in through that door. So like Chip came in through there and did 2 songs, and then left. And then basically right after Memories, he's like, I want to introduce you all to someone very special. And then the door opens up and he brings her out. And he basically like music stops. He like talks about how much he loves her and like how proud he is of her and everything, which is crazy because like I remember back when he had her and like all this stuff. So it was like very intense, very emotional.
That's
And
his
then-
daughter.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then he did Pursuit of Happiness like on the spot, like the Steve Aoki remix, and they were like jumping around and dancing together. And it was just like the cutest fucking thing.
Yeah, that was amazing.
I
yeah,
remember when I saw him for Indica, he had a similar like soft moment towards the ends
Mhm.
where he sat on a stool and he did like a spoken word version of Up Up and Away.
Yeah. Yeah, he had her in 2010, which was like right at the time when he was considering killing himself, and that was like one of the things that like kind of brought him out of it. So
Yep.
it was a powerful moment for
Yeah.
sure.
Yep. He
No,
said that was the first time she had been on stage since she was like 4 or something. So
Yeah, 3 or 4. It
Yeah.
it had been a long time. So
we
that was
literally
just
got a treat.
insane. Yeah, and then
I-
he like went backstage for a long time, came back out, and then did the prayer and love, and that was like the encore.
I love that he's reappropriating Love. Like
Mm.
it was probably my favorite like Lucy track of all time. Like just something that was like on SoundCloud and like couldn't find anywhere else. And the fact that it's available for just everywhere, fantastic. I can't miss Kid Cudi again.
We will be there.
Yeah, like short of my wedding, I'm gonna like be a Kid Cudi.
Yeah, I mean, he's just such a jack of all trades. Like, you listen to his discography and it doesn't strike you as stuff that bangs. A lot of it doesn't strike you as stuff that bangs in concert, but then you go and it's like, oh shit, this is it right now.
No, he does a fantastic show. He leaves it all on the field.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh,
One thing I did like also is that he's been coming out to every single show in like a hockey jersey from that place, which I thought was really funny.
That's been pretty hard.
Oh, that's cool.
And they've all been custom to like that one. So they say like his name on the back with his birth year 84. So like there are pictures on his Instagram of when he did the one in Toronto, and he's got like a Raptors one on, or not Raptors. What the hell is it? No. It's like I'm sorry. It's the Rangers. So wherever the hell the Rangers are.
Rangers.
New York Rangers, yeah. And he's like doing dive, and there's like a picture of him like walking across the stage, like dressed like that. It's crazy.
That's extra cool because that's the UC is where our hockey team plays.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it was a real nice little nod. I thought it was super cool.
That is super cool. I love that. I always love a shout out to the home city. I remember when we saw Brockhampton and Kevin Abstract came out in a Bulls jersey and a leather jacket.
Yep.
I mean, I remember when I saw, I think it was 2021 when there was that big like Green Day, Fall Out Boy, Weezer tour.
Oh, the Super Mega Tour.
Super Mega Tour, and Pete Wentz was wearing a Bulls jersey.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they're from Chicago, like that's their thing.
I know people who grew up down the street from them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it might just be like a trend going on, and I do vibe with it because I think J. Cole came out in a Bulls jersey
Yeah.
when he did his off season, which just makes sense because it's literally about basketball the whole tour.
Yeah, and you look at like how kind of pervasive a lot of like Chicago sports are. I mean, compared to other places in general, like you've got the Sox hat being like a hip hop staple,
Yeah, it's a
regardless of what
fashion.
city.
Yeah. It's like the
Mhm.
Yankees hat. Like,
Yeah, and then it's like the Yankees hat for people who know.
yeah.
And then you've got like Cubs merch and like Takashi Murakami doing stuff with the Cubs and
Yeah.
like Luis de Guzman, who's like another local artist who's doing stuff with the Cubs.
And
And then you've got like,
the Cubs are almost like a brand in a way that
oh,
like
they
some
are totally.
and like
Yeah.
there are other sports teams that are that big, but like it's few and far between.
Yeah, and then you've got obviously like Jordan and the Bulls.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's just
Mhm.
there's no question. It's like Chicago sports. People come through. People wanna wanna
Yeah.
represent.
Fuck, guys, this is a great talk.
Yep.
All
I was
right,
about to
Jasper,
say,
you're a great guest. We got to have you back.
Appreciate it.
will have
Yeah,
you back.
I would love to. If there's ever a surprise Frank drop, or if you guys ever want to do like another artist bio episode, I would love to be present.
Yeah, no, we're gonna have more guests on the show, I think, coming up. So that's
Mhm.
we'll keep you in the loop, my friends. Did you bring recommendations?
I did. I brought a newer one and an older one, kind of outside of the genre.
All right.
Perfect.
So
We're here
why
for
don't we
it.
start with you?
All right. So the number one single that I've been listening to that's newer, and I'm sure, anyone who listens to this podcast already knows about it, but I can't stress it enough for like the uninitiated. Talk About Me, Denzel, Cudi, JID, or Jid.
Yeah,
But I gotta say, the Lyrical Lemonade video.
it's
Oh yeah,
fantastic.
Watch
the
the
Lyrical
video.
Lemonade is
Oh,
amazing.
it's fantastic.
That video is fire. Pay attention to like the backgrounds, pay attention to the outfits, the detail that's gone into like the
The
costuming and
depth of
everything
field
else.
work and everything, it's fantastic.
Yeah, the color fade.
Yeah.
Cuddy in like the LV, like the reflective shit.
Yeah.
Just beautiful. Visually stunning. Great video. Go watch it.
Okay.
Purvis, let me take this one because like we have an artist in common.
No, go for it. Go for it.
As I was saying, like spent a lot of time this past week comparing and contrasting Denzel's and Jid's career.
Mhm.
And like it became immediately obvious like why Purvis was always a champion of Jid and I was always a champion of Denzel. And it's because Jid makes music with church choirs and Denzel makes music like Clout Cobain, the song I'm recommending.
Nice.
And like first off, like absolutely incredible song. Like almost to the same degree as Neighbors. Like it's a song that like whips and also has like commentary to it. Like it has like substance there.
Mhm.
So fucking love that. And the video is a better Joker prequel than the Joker prequel movie. Go rewatch it. Like it tells an incredible story.
Okay, bet. I'm gonna have to look into it. The first one that I would recommend then, I'm going to do a more newer song. Well, not newer song, but more popular song. I'm gonna do "Summer's Over" interlude by Drake. I was on some real smooth vibes recently,
Wow.
so that was gonna be my first one.
That's summer's over, so
It was perfect timing.
yeah.
All right, Jasper, let's get your second one.
So my second one, outside of the genre, but still something I think people should know. And also just kind of like a preface, for like a long time, frankly, like since 2013, I've been looking for more rap or just other music that kind of blurs rap with like more industrial or, electronic stuff.
Yeah.
And so I've actually kind of been listening to some of that newer Yeet recently, and I've been enjoying a lot of that.
Ooh,
But
I've been
something
hearing
that
good things about you. Like I've
Dude,
watched
trying to tell you,
it's
bro.
it's something different. It's like it takes like red, like a whole lot of red, and like where Cardi's gone, and just like takes it a step further. And I mess with that sound.
My thing is
But-
that I've been uniquely neutral to Playboy Cardi.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like I feel
feel ya.
yeah,
I'm
because
gonna
like
get him into it eventually.
no, because I like
Don't worry, it'll
dislike,
happen.
I don't dislike Playboy Cardi. Like
Mhm.
let's keep it a buck. Like I love a lot of his features and stuff, but
Yeah.
like he's just not. Everyone acts like he's the second coming of Christ, and I'm like he's good. Like,
I think
Just you.
it's about like a certain frame of mind or a certain
Yeah.
mood that lends itself to for sure. But so what I wanted to recommend was something that kind of like goes back to the roots of that, which is kind of like more like heavy synth or like not even industrial synth, but kind of like synthwave type stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a song called Infiltrator by a small artist I really like named Daniel Deluxe. And
I love synthwave, so I'm gonna put this down right now.
it's instrumental. Daniel Deluxe actually, his kind of claim to fame is he did a soundtrack for a pretty popular game called Ghost Runner, which
Oh,
was
I love
originally
Ghost
like,
Runner.
okay, yeah, he did the full soundtrack to that game. You're gonna like this. Um, it's just super solid all around. It's like 3.5 minutes, I think, and he's got it. Like I don't know why he's not more popular, but that sound
Yeah.
he's got it like on lock. So
It does
I do
seem
recommend.
like artists who primarily work in like what's the phrase I'm looking for? Like supplemental work, like stuff that's like music that gets played for movies.
Like lends itself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like score. Like it
Mhm.
feels like a lot of those artists get very unfairly maligned.
Mhm.
I would agree. Yeah, unless it's someone who has like a pretty prolific career already and then
Yeah,
kind of goes into that lane, I would agree. Like,
like like I saw like Nine Inch Nails, like
mhm.
they like helped create industrial music,
Oh,
and
for sure.
yeah, and like Trent Reznor has gone on to do some of the best scores of all time.
Hmm.
Also, just to confirm it with everyone, Intergalactic did drop, Melt My Eyes Deluxe did drop, uh, but I'm not seeing the Freddie Gibbs album. What?
No, that's come on.
I
Don't
already
say
saw it
that.
pre on there, so
Oh, there it is. Intergalactic.
yeah,
15 songs, 45 minutes. We like that, but that's a good
yeah,
runtime.
that's a good ratio. Oh,
Freddie Gibbs
so
is out. Freddie
okay,
Gibbs is out.
I knew it had to be because like it was when I went to go listen to the singles. It was like that thing they do sometimes, where like the album, like you see everything,
Mm-hmm.
but like you can't play anything.
I see.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen that a couple times. I remember
yeah,
they did that happened for Kanye. That happened for
yeah,
Donda at first.
yeah. It happens like when artists don't like when they're like, "Hey, album's coming out in a month. Here's all the track lists." Like when there's no surprise aspect to it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
Don't.
my second recommendation is a cover.
Okay.
I heard it on the way into Riot Fest, and considering what we were talking about today, I'm like, I was already going to recommend it, but I'm like, I can't not know now. And it's a bedroom pop artist named Remy Wolf, and she was at Lala. She was actually performing while we were trying to find each other, Purvis, and
Okay.
I was gonna try and see her when she was. It's her cover of "Pink and White" by Frank Ocean.
Ooh,
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
let's go.
So she's a indie pop, like bedroom, very low key kind of like pop
You,
artist.
you know what? I've heard this. I heard this like on Instagram. I know exactly what this
Yeah,
song sounds like. It's fire. I
yeah,
also
it's
can.
a great
I second
cover.
it. I
Also,
recommend it.
highly recommend looking up some of her songs. They're really good. But yeah, excellent cover. And the other thing is, I feel like you a lot of times you only get like excellent covers to songs that are like relatively old. So it was cool seeing something that felt very recent.
Yeah, but I like that. I'm literally gonna listen to this as soon as the podcast is over.
Yeah, I'm just upset because like it showed up on Rachel's because like she's on Spotify. It's not on
Mm.
Tidal.
Oh,
Mm.
that's terrible.
Yeah, no, big L.
That's right. You have better sound quality.
Yeah,
But I'm gonna close it out then. Normally I'm doing really like obscure stuff and random stuff, trying to branch out all of our listeners, but I'm gonna do something that hits home. I'm gonna do the Big Sean song "Control" that featured everyone,
oh
most
my
importantly
god.
Kendrick Lamar, and he murdered the entire game.
Oh
Yup.
my god. What was your okay, real quick. What was everyone's favorite response to Control?
uh, I don't know. What do you mean? Like the favorite response?
Like everyone like I remember everyone like responding to it. Like all the people who were dissed.
I can't
Oh, well, mine
recall
is Mount
what the best
Olympus by
was.
Big Crit. Like
Oh, of course.
yeah, no, go listen to it. Go listen to it, Purvis.
Of course, it's Big
Some of the
Crit.
best bars of all time. You're trying to tell me I could be the king of hip hop, but you wouldn't give it to Andre 3000? incredible. Like,
I'm gonna have to look all these responses up now because I didn't know anyone dared to respond to that bar.
I think legitimately like Big Crit is like, holy shit, like this is a response. But then again, like he talks about it. He's like, it's interesting. Go listen to it.
Okay, but we'll do. All right, well,
Is this a show?
we made it to the end. This is the show. Jasper, thank you again.
Yeah,
do you
dude,
want to
Jasper,
plug yourself in? Anything you want to?
Oh yeah, plug yourself hard.
For sure, yeah. Check me out on Instagram at jspr.studio. That's my little art profile, design profile. Or if you like shoes and, art and fashion stuff going on in the city, jspr.kicks is going to be that profile. So
We'll make sure
check
it's
me out
down there.
for sure. Hit me up.
you'll be able
Let's
to
talk music. Let's talk shoes, design, whatever.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. All right, Jasper, Purvis.
Yes, sir. We made it.
We're ending the podcast now.